So Juggernaut between SCARLETT and Astrea. Both players showing lots of really strong games in the previous DreamHack summer. It'll be interesting to see how these players proceed forward in their StarCraft 2 careers, as both players have tapped into their training outside of their countries of origin. Of course, SCARLETT has spent a significant amount of time in Korea, living with no regret in the Team Unity house in Korea. Astrea had an opportunity to do a little bit of his own time in Korea as well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see both of those players make it back. SCARLETT finding some good success in the GSL. I mean, she really was able to lock in some good wins. And I know Astrea, if given some more time to practice abroad, I think he would continue to also find some really, really good success. So as the world begins to open up once again, I'll be interested to see if one or both of these players returns to Korea to get some more training done in their respective scenes. So, but good to see both of these players competing in an online scale. It's going to be a Void Ray opener here from Astrea. Not that anybody is surprised by that. Especially on Juggernaut, where there is a large amount of dead space for those Void Rays to kind of hang out and be annoying. There's going to be a follow-up Oracle, though, which I find rather interesting. So not a complete commitment into Void Ray production, at least not right now. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I hope those sneezes weren't too loud. I leaned back as far as I possibly could. Ooh, additional Oracle production coming in here for Astrea. So this will be an interesting back and forth dance. This Oracle is going to get rather damaged right away. But it's going to be the back and forth engagement between the Oracle on one side and the Void Rays on the other that's going to split up these queens. And queens are going to be rather valuable in this opening gambit between these two players. But it looks like SCARLETT is prepared. She's dropping down Spore Crawlers where appropriate. Spore Crawler out at that main, or that natural rather. Excuse me. Would be super useful. The commitment to air units is not going to be long-term for Astrea. Astrea is going to drop down a robotics facility. He has charge coming in as well. So the additional production cycle could be deadly on top of it. But SCARLETT's starting to spike up in supply. She has about 46 army supply right now. A lot of roaches, a lot of lings, and the queens are marching. Brenda, Karen, Susan, Agnes. I'm gonna pick off one of those oracles, which will be admittedly very nice, but the production for Astrea is not there just yet. 57 to 18, SCARLETT. Lots of incoming damage here. She is not gonna mess around. She knows that Protoss late game is tough to deal with. So the best way to deal with it is just to not let it happen. First corrosive bile going to go down. Does end up missing one of the cannons on the left, but it will grab the cannon on the right. Having the queens there is going to help mitigate the damage from the Void Rays. Charge is still on its way, but again, there's not that many warp-in cycles available for our red Protoss player. Those corrosive bile is going to continue raining down onto those valuable static defense, and that is going to make this hold very, very difficult. Picking off more and more. 26 Zerglings on the production tab. These queens are finding so much value. The Ravager sitting in the center, being overly protected by the queens. Brenda, Susan, Karen, and all of her friends at the Quilting Club is creating a wonderful little security net. Lings are going to come streaming across the map here, and now that the wall is down, all of these valuable production units are going to be taken care of. GG is called, and SCARLETT, she overwhelms her opponent in game number 1. So this is going to be one of those fancy macro 12 pools that kind of been all the rage right now. It's a lot of Zerglings in production. 6 are going to immediately come out. It is additional Zergling production. This has the potential to be able to just transition into a standard macro style opening. But you know, when the drones all get pulled, SCARLETT does a great job. She fakes out Astrea here. This is going to be just a drone drill to get in. Gosh, that wall just doesn't look large enough. Yeah, the scouting probe of Astrea had great intentions. Second Zealot is going to make this a difficult situation for Astrea to try and protect against. Because here come the drones. The drones are going to drill their way through. The pylon is not going to be near enough. Yeah, immediately cancels the Nexus. Oh, this is great. The gateway is going to get dangerously low. Will SCARLETT be able to kill that? She will. So now it's an all-in situation here for these workers. It is the greatest worker fight to ever happen since the 1500s. I can hear the town hall bells now. Brong, 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 and they're off. Oh, that's actually devastating. That's a shield battery. Oh no. The shield battery with overcharge? No, the problem is there is a cyber core that has already been used to its fullest potential. SCARLETT's kind of dancing back and forth here a little bit. She is not entirely sure how to deal with this. I mean, that shield battery makes this such a complicating situation. But she's going to have to try and get as much damage done as possible and hope that the shield battery can't heal everyone. But the problem is it can and it will. Now, the overcharge is going to get burnt, so that will be enough here. But can there be enough damage? Without that overcharge, the shield battery energy is going to run out, and it will now no longer be able to heal everyone. Can Astrea make the most of this situation? SCARLETT is not going to hang on, I don't think. Astrea's worker count still at 11. The army counts are almost dead even, but there are more zealots on the way. Astrea hangs on for game number 2. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. Be our final match here. This best of 3 between these two players spawning in the bottom left. Our blue Zerg player for the Shopify Rebellion. This is SCARLETT. Oh, it's on Blackbird, by the way. It's spawning in the bottom right. A Blackbird. It's our red Protoss player. For Alpha X, this is Astrea. Already this game is a little bit on its head. Astrea getting the block at the natural base. So this hatchery has to go down to third base location. That hasn't... I mean, SCARLETT has gotten aggressive on her opponents for lesser reasons. It'll be a matter of whether or not this will prompt her into some heavy aggression as well, or if she may want to try and go for a longer form game. We'll have to see how that transpires. But my guess is that that Astrea is going to stay rather diligent, keeping an eye out for her opponent, for his opponent rather. Sorry. It's going to be Nexus after Cybercore. He sees that that Scarlet is doing just a standard hatch gas pool, so that is at least something that will quell his initial fears. He can just watch for a more standard timing for that follow-up aggression. But again, Zerg players have gotten aggressive for less reasons than having their hatchery placed out at the third base location rather than the natural. And honestly, for Scarlet, this isn't too terrible of damage. She's just going to toss down the hatchery at the natural for her third base. It's a rather quick robotics facility for Astrea. And keep in mind, there's no setup here for Twilight Council, so we don't have a charge timing. We don't have DT. We have. What are we looking at here, Astrea? Astrea, what you doing with this robotics facility? Could be Immortals in a Warp Prism, but you usually want that to follow up with some sort of tech. Could just be a really, really interesting timing on the warp in tech. Very interesting. We'll have to keep a quick eye on this, see where this is going to go. Now, Scarlet's going to have a decent amount of scouting information. She will be able to keep some tabs on that forward part of the natural. But what I don't think she's going to see is the warp prism that is coming out here. Yeah, that's going to go rather unscouted right now. Yeah, roaches are going to be coming down at a pretty standard timing. What does she have for units? She only has Zerglings, and those Zerglings are all out on the map right now. So it's Queens back at home. Yeah, immediately workers are going to have to get pulled. Spore Crawler is going to be helpful, but that is just going to be enough to prevent that warp prism from just dancing over and over again. Here come those Immortals that I was initially talking about. Astrea in an okay position here, but I think he needs to try and find some damage with these units. They're getting a lot of that damage. It's really, really good so far. Astrea handling this rather effectively, and she's droning heavy behind it. The lair's going to come down. There's going to be roaches in production. Oh, Astrea, look at you go. 6 of those gateways in production. I mean, this is just going to be overwhelming. This is going to be overwhelming forces. There's going to be 2 Immortals, tons of sentries. There's going to be a lot of force fields. And I think Astrea is looking just to end this right here, right now. He still has a sizable army lead, 35-24 of Scarlet. And Scarlet doesn't have a whole lot of production right now. She's invested a ton into getting her base count up. She is trying to take that 4th base location. But now things are going to start coming to a head. Scarlet has to realize what's happening here, and she is trying to position herself. Lost a lot of this creep. Astrea's done a nice job of limiting Scarlet's creep spread here. Scarlet's banking just a little bit on top of it, so this will be a rough engagement. Great force field. It's going to block out some of these Ravagers for the time being. They're going to have to use their vials to knock down those force fields, and that's a great situation rather than trying to dodge. Drones have been pulled off of the line to help soak up a little bit of defense, but Astrea has done it. He has shoved it down his opponent. SCARLETT, unfortunately, unable to clean up this game, and Astrea wins game number 3.